Hey everyone, I'm Casey Hollins and you're watching the Sportsnet Digital Dose. Today is Thanksgiving, which means football day, at least for Americans, maybe not so much for us. We still have to work.
We watch it, Casey.
Yeah.
I mean,
we find a way to watch it.
Yes, we do.
There are three big games on today, starting with the game at 12:30 p.m. Eastern. That one's on City TV. And that's the Houston Texans against the Detroit Lions. What should we be watching for in that game?
I think we should be watching for the Houston Texans defense. They gave up 37 points last week to Jacksonville, so I don't think they're going to be in a good mood about that. They have a lot higher standards defensively than allowing 37 points. And the problem for Detroit is they don't have a great running game, much of a running game at all, to keep J.J. Watt and the Texas defense honest. So they're going to be going after Matthew Stafford and try not to allow him to get the ball to Calvin Johnson. Offensively, I mean, Houston does a lot of things. Arian Foster's a great running back, and then we've seen last week, I mean, Matt Schaub threw for 527 yards and 5 touchdowns. He can throw the ball if he has to. They can play different styles of football, close to the vest, wide open, so they can beat you in different ways. The Houston Texans are one of the elite teams in the NFL.
It should be a fun game to watch. I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah,
At least catching what I can.
No, it's going to be a fun game. It always is. I've been to Ford Field for Thanksgiving. There's a lot of pomp and circumstance around it. It's a long-standing tradition of the National Football League. The problem for Detroit, it's been a long time since they've actually won some games, their own Thanksgiving game at Ford Field. So a lot of Lions fans feel a little beleaguered because they go to the game because it's a national holiday to watch their team lose, and that's part of the problem.
Yeah, well, I mean, they're looking better this year, in recent years, than they have, so you never know. It is the Texans, but you never know. Yeah,
I agree with you, Casey. I think, but we were so teased last year with the kind of season they had. They've been a bit of a disappointment in the National Football League, quite frankly. And Matthew Stafford is not having the kind of year he did. I mean, last year was off the charts, over 5,000 yards, one of the elite quarterbacks in the league. He's taken a bit of a step back, probably because he doesn't have as many weapons around him as he might need. And now they're facing a Texans team who know they need to keep winning to try to hold the hammer for home field advantage in the AFC. So it's going to be awfully tough for Detroit.
Well, I think Dallas Cowboys fans might call their team a bit of a disappointment in the National Football League as well. They're the next game this afternoon against the Redskins, a nice NFC matchup there. That should be exciting to watch. We've got RG3 and Tony Romo.
Very exciting, Casey. And the funny thing about Dallas, they're a bit of an enigma. They are a disappointment, but now they're 5-5 going into this game with some pretty winnable games in their schedule. If they can get by the Redskins today at Cowboy Stadium, their schedule sets up that they could have a legitimate shot of being a playoff team in the NFC. As strange as that sounds, despite all their pitfalls and all the problems they've had this year, Casey, it's sort of right there for them. And Jason Garrett can quiet a lot of the critics. It all depends on Tony Romo because they have had so many injuries at running back. They've got basically a fourth stringer, Dunbar, at running back for the Cowboys today. So it's going to put a lot of pressure on Tony Romo, Miles Austin, Dez Bryant, and Jason Witten to throw the ball a lot against the Redskins to win. I think part of the fascination of this game, though, and this is no disrespect to Tony Romo, is Robert Griffin III.
Oh, absolutely.
He's become the most exciting young player in the league. Yeah, He's only got 3 interceptions on the season for a rookie quarterback. To me, that's almost unheard of. He's got over 600 yards rushing, so he can beat you. He can take it to the distance at any time running the ball, and he can throw a home run pass at any time. So how Rob Ryan, the coordinator for the Cowboys, finds a scheme to stop Robert Griffin and contain him is going to be an absolute key today.
Well, Tony Romo is 5-0 on Thanksgiving games, so they have that luck on their side, if you want to call it that, momentum, whatever it is. I mean, Cowboys fans are probably hoping that they win this game, and they absolutely can. So it'll be fun to watch.
Casey, I don't know why it is. It's one of the great anomalies in the NFL. Tony Romo's 21-3 in the month of November. I mean, he almost never loses games in November. Now, late December, yeah, that's a different story. So, and that's why I think the Cowboys should win the game. Romo has great success in the month. They find ways to win, and defensively, they're a little bit better than Washington because the Redskins, unfortunately, have a lot of injuries in their defense. It's really hurt them this year.
Well, I'm looking forward to that game. That one is also on City TV at 4:30 p.m. Eastern. And tonight's game is on Sportsnet with coverage beginning at 8 p.m. Eastern. Tonight's matchup, New York Jets, New England Patriots. Tom Brady's been on fire lately, so he's going to be fun to watch.
The great thing about the New England Patriots is the last time they played the Jets, they went to overtime and barely beat New York. But since then, they have scored, I think it was over 140 points in the next 3 games. Their offense, Casey, as you said, and Tom Brady have exploded and are just running people out the barn. They can beat you with a running game that people don't realize. Stephen Ridley's having a great year. The one question a lot of people have, and even Bill Belichick, when asked this week, didn't have an answer, is How do they score in the red zone without Rob Gronkowski?
Yeah, he's out, and that's a big hole for them.
Yes, I mean, he has 10 touchdowns. He is their go-to guy when they're down by the end zone. Aaron Hernandez is expected to play, which will help, but he's not Rob Gronkowski. And it makes him a little bit easier to defend. Now, it's not meaning I don't think the Jets could beat them, but maybe the score is a little closer because they don't have Gronkowski. For New York, the big question is which Sanchez is going to show up? The Mark Sanchez throws the ball away and makes a lot of mistakes, or the Mark Sanchez that we saw last week in St. Louis, who looked very effective and made a lot of smart throws and kept his team in the game. So that's the real question mark for Jets fans is you have this almost schizophrenic quarterback who you don't know from one week to the next what kind of performance he's going to provide you.
Well, it should be exciting nonetheless. Yeah. I'm looking forward to it. Thanks so much for coming in,
problem,
Jim.
Casey.
This is Jim Lang from Sportsnet 590 The Fan, and I'm sure he'll be back with us at some point.
You call, I hope.
And I'm looking forward to going home and watching the night game, because that's the one I can watch. So.
I think you have a sore throat coming up.
I know. Not if you
I might have to leave after lunch. Sorry.
I might have to leave right after this. Anyway, that's all we've got time for now, but check back soon for another Sportsnet Digital Dose.